On today's video, I'm going to be telling you the top 10 best places to live in Florida. Frankly, this is a video that I have hesitated to make because I'm so indecisive about this topic. But after looking at the videos that other YouTube creators have made, I'm absolutely disgusted by it. And I want to give you guys what I think are the top 10 best places to live in Florida. Sadly, most of the YouTube videos about this topic are realtors trying to prop up their area, placing cities on this list that don't belong on it simply because they're realtors and they can make a lot of money convincing people to move to these places. So these aren't honest lists of the best places to live in Florida. These are realtors trying to steer people into areas in their vicinity so they can sell you houses. So on today's video, I'm going to give you guys the real top 10 best places to live in Florida based on my opinion, not based on what a realtor needs to sell you. There's videos on the internet like this one by this turd hat looking crackhead who's a realtor. He's got his phone number slapped all over the videos. He's telling people that Wilmama is one of the best places to live in Florida, but that's because he's a realtor in the Sarasota area, and that would be a very convenient place for him to sell you a house. Look, if you actually need to relocate to Florida and you need somebody to give you consulting, my email address is listed on my YouTube channel's main page. I don't really advertise this, but every once in a while I do consulting for people to help them. If you need consulting, reach out to me and I'll help you. I'm not a realtor. I don't have any interest at hand, so you don't have to worry about me trying to steer you into something that ain't going to work for you. For $200, I'll give you 2 hours of my time. Most people that I talk to don't need the 2 hours. We figure it out before then. But I figured out with consulting that people just want you to tell them what they want to hear. I usually ask people questions about them to see what their needs are best, but they're not interested in hearing more about what I want to find out from them. They just want you to tell them what they want to hear. And when I don't tell them that, they simply check out. The reality of most people who seek consulting is that they seek somebody to tell them what they want to hear. And well, we're not here to do that for you. So if you do reach out to me with consulting, you're going to have to tell me a little bit about yourself, what you want, where you've lived, and what you thought about the places where you've lived in the past so that I can have an idea what works best for you. And if you don't like that, oh well, find somebody else who will tell you what you want to hear. Most of these realtors are pushing people in the suburbs like this that are affordable, telling people that these are the greatest places to live in Florida. But if you've been watching my YouTube channel, I've literally been telling people the complete opposite. These are probably the places you want to avoid for a lot of reasons. So I'm not here to tickle people's ears. I'm here to tell you the truth. When it comes to this particular video today, I've been really hesitant to make this video for the reason that I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure on what are the best places to live in Florida, but I'm going to tell you based on my opinion what I think are the best places to live in Florida. And I didn't want to make this video because I wasn't sure about it. I like to be very conclusive about my videos because all these other copycat channels watch my videos and then they'll make their videos based on my videos. So my video has to be impeccable because I know other people are going to copy it. But because of the garbage that's out there right now, I'm just being forced to make this video. So let's get started with today's list. Number 1 is Hollywood, Florida. It puts you directly between the Fort Lauderdale airport and the Miami airport. You can enjoy Fort Lauderdale and you can enjoy Miami. It's the most advantageous place to live in Florida because it's jammed up between two of the most desirable places to live in Florida, Miami and Fort Lauderdale. Despite the fact that it's jammed up between a large metropolitan area, it has some small town feel and vibes like you would expect anywhere else in Florida. It's a smaller to middle-sized city that has the conveniences of living in a large metropolitan. Hollywood is a gorgeous city with a beautiful beach vibe. It's a great place for jobs and economical activity. You should have no problem carving out a living in Hollywood. Whether you like European or Latin American cuisine, this area is diverse enough to have a little bit of everything. Living here, you're going to feel tropical and luxurious. One of my favorite things to do here is walk their beach boardwalk in Hollywood Beach, enjoying the beautiful scenic beaches here. If you go to the north, you got Fort Lauderdale, Las Olas. If you go to the south, you got a lot of shopping in Aventura. So the location of Hollywood is ideal. If you want to live like a boss in Florida, Hollywood should be at the top of your list. When you're walking on that boardwalk, you almost feel like you're in a Caribbean island. For many reasons, this is the most convenient location that you can live in the state of Florida to enjoy all the great things that cities have to offer in the biggest metropolitan area. The layout of downtown with close proximity to the water, beaches, a beautiful layout very similar to downtown Sarasota makes this also one of the most practical layouts of any city in the state. Number 2 is Sarasota, Florida. When you hear people talk about Palmer Ranch or Lakewood Ranch or all of the areas that they consider the best places to live in Florida on their list, they're not really talking about Lakewood Ranch or Palmer Ranch or Wimauma or Parrish or none of those places. What they're really talking about is Sarasota. The reason they don't put Sarasota on the name is because they can't afford Sarasota. They can't sell Sarasota. There isn't a lot of new home construction here. It's a very impractical place for realtors to recommend as a great place to live because they practically can't sell it. There just isn't much real estate available in Sarasota, particularly new construction. It simply doesn't lend itself to being labeled as a great place to live because they can't sell it. Now, what they have been able to do is sell Lakewood Ranch, sell Palmer Ranch, and sell all these suburbs within the vicinity of Sarasota. But the truth be told, the best place to live isn't Lakewood Ranch or Palmer Ranch or none of those suburbs that these realtors are telling you. This is what they're really trying to tell you. They just can't sell it to you. Siesta Key is a world travel destination. Lido Key, St. Armand Circle, Longboat Key, and then you can run up in the Anna Maria Island, Bradenton Beach, and Coquina Beach. The beaches that this area has to offer are among the best in Florida. You have an abundance of parks. For the most part, most beaches here have free parking available. From downtown to the airport to the islands is about less than 13 minutes in a circle. That means that it's also one of the most practical cities to travel or to have people visit you because everything you need is within one small area. The airport, the downtown, and the islands are all right next to each other. It's extraordinarily practical. Sarasota is not entitled like Naples or Boca where they think they're billionaires. This is like a very humble city, but there's no shortage of money in this town. You'll see luxury yachts, Ferraris, Rolls Royces, all that big money stuff like any other city in Florida, but the people here seem to be far more down to earth and reasonable. While you do have your agitators, this area is also very neutral politically. People here don't seem to be so expressive. People here talk about travel, vacations, and enjoying beach vibes, so it isn't as polarizing as other parts of Florida. Downtown nightlife is lit even during the off season and during weekdays. You could be on a Tuesday or Wednesday in downtown at 2 or 3 in the morning and the clubs are still packed, so people are always doing stuff here at night. I Uber drive in this area at night, and let me tell you, even on a Monday night, this place can be lit. People here don't have a schedule. They party, they drink, there's nightlife, and it's extraordinarily safe. There's always a heavy police presence along the beaches, downtown, and all the areas you're going to enjoy, so this is a very safe city. The Sarasota Police Department also has a great reputation with the community. This isn't a place of police profiling. This is a place where you can be comfortable and know that the cops are there to protect you, not to harass you. The Sarasota Police Department is probably one of the reasons why this city is the top choice as well. This is really a great safe city with very little police profiling like you have in other places like Boca and Naples where they're constantly harassing people needlessly. It's safe, it's clean, they're doing their job, keeping the city safe. In 2023, there were 0 homicides within city limits. But the best part about living in Sarasota is the fact that you have some of the best beaches in the United States and an atmosphere of enjoying life and staying away from those conflictive topics that are popular in other areas. Popular with graduations, spring breakers, weddings, and other celebrations, this area is no longer a retirement area in Florida. You're seeing a lot more young people move here, young professionals, so this area's demographics are changing, becoming more young, more fun, and a little bit more nocturnal. Many residents and visitors call Sarasota like a baby Miami. It's got all the fun activities of Miami, but a lot safer, a lot smaller, and a lot more practical. Number 3 is Jacksonville beaches, stretching from St. Augustine, Villano Beach, Nocatee, Ponte Verde Beach, Jacksonville Beach, Atlantic Beach, Neptune Beach, Armelia Island, St. Fernandina Beach, all of the coastline of Jacksonville beaches. is now one of the best places to live in the state. Whether you're in St. John's, Duval, or Nassau County, if you're along this coastline, everything's good along Jacksonville beaches. Whether you're looking for quiet retirement or a more family-friendly environment, there's a lot of options along this coastline. There's plenty of good suburban living out here with sprawling suburbs in all directions. Now in the past, the Jacksonville area would have not made my list because the city of Jacksonville's crime rates are too high. Unfortunately, the crime rates in Miami, Tampa, Orlando have increased so much that now Jacksonville is practically on par with all the other Florida cities for safety, which means that it's not that Jacksonville's got any better, but that all the other Florida cities have increased so much in crime that if you're going to live in a large metro area, you're unfortunately going to have to deal with all the problems that come along with that, which means that Jacksonville is now a contender on our list. I've been waiting to put Jacksonville cities on this list for so long, but again, the problem is that Jacksonville really is a violent city. Jacksonville's coastline is gorgeous. It's got a lot of nature. It's just a beautiful coastal area. It's much more affordable than the southern region of the state. And despite the fact compared to other Florida cities, the crime rates here are elevated, it is still significantly better than most other cities on the East Coast. Civil unrest here is a little bit more elevated than all the other cities on today's list. Jacksonville is still part of the Deep South, an area deeply rooted in hate. But to the conclusion of today's video, it doesn't matter how nice of a place you live, nowhere today is exempt from civil unrest, violence, and crime. So it's just something we have to put up with these days. There's no real getting away from it. Even cities in South Florida, there's only a few places that remain kind of isolated from what's going on in the world out there. And there are places like Sarasota and Naples, areas that most people can't afford to live in. So Jacksonville is part of the Deep South. That comes with great things like great food. It does come with great things like people that are genuine and friendly, but it also comes with a whole nother package of the ideologies of people in the South. So it's a little bit more politically charged than some of these other cities in Florida that are on today's list. The beaches here are incredible. The area is growing, and Jacksonville, particularly the eastern part of the city, has become more diverse than ever, which means that you can get all the food options that you can in Miami and Jacksonville now. So not only do you have the great local southern regional cuisine like barbecue and southern food, but then on top of that, you also have all the transplant foods from South Florida like Cuban, Colombian, any nationality you want, you can find it in Jacksonville. We recently ate at a Venezuelan restaurant in downtown, which was one of the best Venezuelan restaurants we've ever eaten at. Now, eating out in Jacksonville is a little bit more expensive than other Florida cities, but the cost of living is more affordable when it comes to housing. From my perspective, jobs and income in Jacksonville far surpass all the other Florida cities because of the demographics of this area. Definitely an area that me and my wife love, and we try to get out there every single year to enjoy the beautiful coastline, and it's a place that I would consider moving to. If I were moving here, my number one concern would be crime and safety, because again, Jacksonville is considered a fairly dangerous city for Florida standards. So remember, if you're coming from Chicago or St. Louis or Detroit, it's going to be considerably safer. So it's all about your perspective on where you're coming from. So that's the issue. Jacksonville does have a crime concern. And if it wasn't for that issue, I think me and my wife would have been living here a long time ago already. Number 4 is St. Petersburg, Florida. This city would have not made this list many years ago, but as of today, St. Petersburg has become very safe. There's been great new investment in this area. You have beautiful access to waterways, beaches. St. Petersburg has a lot going for it. It isn't a perfect place, but it's got enough good stuff going on, particularly crime and safety. The city has increased its safety dramatically over the last few years. And just like Jacksonville, St. Pete was a city that had a lot to offer. It's just needed to improve its crime and safety, and it's been able to manage that, making this area now be among the best places to live in Florida. St. Petersburg gives you that tropical sunny vibe that you want with Florida, but it is milder on the weather than the southern part of the state. It's less propense to being hit by hurricanes as well. It has one of the largest and most active downtowns. Just like Sarasota, the nightlife here doesn't seem to have an end, and it doesn't seem like it matters which weekday it is. People here will go out drinking and partying any time of the week, even during weekdays. So it's a very fun and active city with a charming tropical vibe. But even though it's in the middle of an urban area, it has enough of a slow-paced feel as well. It has somewhat of that southern charm, that southern tranquility. So it's a city that offers you kind of the best of both worlds. It isn't too big and active, and it isn't too slow and sleepy. It's a good balance. Now, St. Petersburg used to be one of the oldest cities demographically in Florida, but again, I think these analytics are going to be changing. If you go to downtown St. Petersburg, it definitely feels like a young, hipster city with good vibes, lots of young people out and about. So don't let the analytics about this area fool you. It's a fun place to be. If I had to be critical of St. Petersburg, I would say it's culturally more bland. Everything is more hipster, more fake, more artificial. I think the city is really lacking its individuality and culture. Orlando, Miami, all the other Florida cities, even Tampa, have their own unique culture and vibe, but St. Petersburg is kind of bland. Another huge downside to St. Petersburg is that parking accessibility and the fact that you have to pay for parking along the beaches is also considerably a frowning face compared to other areas like Sarasota, where parking is readily available and usually free. I think this is kind of one of the downsides of the coastline of St. Petersburg, is that it's more geared to tourism and less geared to the enjoyment of locals. I also feel like there's a lot of contamination and just, unsightly things along the coastline. You have to consider that St. Petersburg is an older city, and with that comes the fact that there isn't this sprawling new construction all over St. Petersburg like you have in other Florida cities. I think the coastline here is a little old, neglected, and run down. It isn't as nice as it used to be, especially after that hurricane brought some storm surge flooding to the area. So everything isn't perfect here. I think it's going to take some time to recover from the hurricanes. You also have a lot of unsightly vessels, and I think a lot of that has to do with homeless people living on the water. The downtown area is massive, it's elegant, it's clean, it's beautiful. It also feels like a baby Miami. Nightlife is active even during weekdays. This is really a great city for young people that like to party and do stuff out and about late at night. But the young people can get a little rowdy, and sometimes people say that St. Petersburg has a trashy vibe with smoke always in the air and young people always drunk. So to each their own, but no place is perfect. At least it's considerably safe compared to other cities in the United States, and that's why it's on this list as well. Number 5 is the northern tip of Pinellas County. You have areas like Tarpon Springs, Dunedin, Palm Harbor. This area really is one of the best places to live in Florida. In Tarpon Springs, you have a small little Greece. The Greek community here with great cuisine, beautiful neighborhoods, incredible Florida vibes. You have the Sponge Docks, famous Florida attractions. This area is chill, elegant, really awesome vibes up this way. It's very quaint and quiet and tranquil here, but you also have easy access to the beaches like Clearwater Beach, Honeymoon Island, so there's plenty of great beaches accessible. The area a little bit further to the south of here is extraordinarily seasonable. Clearwater's not going to make our list because in the winter it's too packed, and in the summer it's a complete ghost town. But this little area here, despite being extraordinarily seasonable, is still a great place to live in Florida year-round. It's really hard to describe the feeling of these little places. They feel kind of trapped in time. They feel so elegant and quiet and charming. I really don't even know how to describe it. It's just a unique feel that this area has that makes it feel homey and comfortable. The people out here are really immersed into this coastal vibe life, just a slower pace of life, tropical feels. It really does feel islandy and happy and bright and enjoyable. I mean, it's a place that every time you visit there, you just feel in a good mood. The people here really are living their best lives. I can't tell you I've ever had a bad day in this area. Here's Dunedin. Again, beautiful place. Everybody's always wearing their colorful clothes, beautiful tropical hats. It's just an awesome vibe, but again, kind of seasonal. I think that's kind of like the downside of this part of Florida, is that during the winter time. Everybody's down here and it becomes a really fun packed place. But then everybody leaves and that accordion of, full and empty can be a little bit overwhelming if you're not used to it. Without a doubt, the coastal northern tip of Pinellas County is a place you should check out if you're thinking about Florida. And it isn't just the vibrant and packed downtowns and city squares, it's also the abundance of natural settings you have here, from parks to rivers to lakes, places like beaches and little islands you can go to. If you enjoy nature and coastal vibes, it's really hard to beat this part of Florida. It's also known for being extraordinarily safe. I guess on the downsides, the county does have an extraordinarily high overdose death rate, but that's more towards the urban center of the county, not so much around here. But I guess this is like a regional problem here, and it's probably one of the few negative things you could say about this area. If you enjoy relaxing coastal settings, this area should definitely be on your list. Number 6 is Jupiter, Florida. Located at the northern tip of the Southeast Florida metropolitan area, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, and West Palm Beach are all large cities. Once you go north of West Palm Beach, you have Palm Beach Gardens, Juno Beach, Jupiter. These areas are almost exclusively white. It's demographically very different than the rest of Southeast Florida. Of course, that comes with an elevated price tag. It's not a cheap place to live. Everything here is elegant and tropical. With the elevated price tag, you get the conclusion that this is also one of the most well-patrolled and safest areas to live in the state of Florida. Jupiter has some of the clearest waters on the East Coast, and it's home to many celebrities who live on the island and other exclusive communities where the price tags easily stretch into the millions. Jupiter feels elegant and exclusive. It's tropical, it's vibrant, but it's a lot cleaner and more wholesome than the rest of Southeast Florida. So you're probably wondering, if Jupiter is so nice, why don't you hear it mentioned more often on these lists? Well, pretty simple. Just like Sarasota, the real estate market here is fairly limited, and many of these YouTube channel having realtors can't pull the type of clientele that buys properties here. People buying property here are probably going to know somebody here already, and they're going to use realtors from the area. So these YouTube channel having realtors, they just can't market this area. So it hasn't got the popularity and fame of other places because, again, the type of buyer, the type of real estate they're buying isn't going to lend itself to some YouTube clown. It isn't YouTube marketable, but people that have money in Florida know that this is one of the places they can retire and really enjoy a very affluent, great place to live in Florida, minus all the hype. Despite all that, it's still a fairly fun place to live. Don't think Jupiter's boring. Despite great beaches, this area is also known for having great shopping. A drive into Palm Beach Gardens or West Palm Beach, and you have some of the best options for shopping in Florida. This is, again, not as marketable as other places in Florida, but nonetheless incredible. Number 7 is Western Broward County suburbs. You have Weston, Coral Springs, Parkland, Sunrise. If you can end up in this western tip of Broward County, you'll do really good. There's not much to be said about a suburban area, but it's safe, it's clean, it's tropical, great shopping, great restaurants, easy access to Miami and Fort Lauderdale. Because it's one of the best places to live, the housing cost here is easily the highest in Florida. You're going to pay close to $3,000 for a 2-bedroom apartment. So again, the marketability of this area isn't great for YouTubers, so you're not going to see these areas mentioned too much on their videos. They're mostly pushing suburban areas where land is available, where they're rezoning agricultural land and turning it into suburbs. They can sell you houses affordably in those areas. These are the types of places that are actually the better places to live in the state, but because of affordability of these areas, rarely do they end up on these lists. But the truth is that if you got enough money and can afford Western Broward, it's a great place to live. You have a great amount of diversity. If you like restaurants, eating out, there's everything you could think of in these suburbs here, from Jamaican, Haitian, European. It doesn't matter what you're looking for. If you like eating out, going to events, and anything that has to do with large events, you're close to Miami and Fort Lauderdale, so this area is extraordinarily practical. It's fairly safe. The people that I know that live out here love it. They're not going anywhere else in Florida. It's just because of the price tag, fairly unmarketable. This area also has some of the highest incomes for Hispanics and blacks of anywhere in the state of Florida. So you have diversity, but you also have good analytics to back it up. So it's a very great suburban ethnic mix area. Some places in Coral Springs and Parkland, Florida are among the most diverse zip codes in the state of Florida, having black, Hispanic, Asian, just everything you can think of mixed in together very well. So it's a great place if you want to live in Florida in a part of the state that's more diverse and ethnic. Both in Parkland and in Davie, there's little pockets where lots are a lot bigger, and this is still South Florida, so you can grow mangoes and all your tropical fruits, so you can really find good properties here. The issue here is going to be the price tag. It's not in everybody's price range, but good things don't come affordable, especially in the state of Florida where everybody wants to live. Number 8 is Naples, Florida. There's a catch. You better be loaded if you're moving to Naples. This isn't a fake it till you make it type of place. I lived in Naples for over 20 years, and if you are middle class, you're not going to make it here. You have to be upper class. If you can meet the requirement of having upper class money, I'm talking a net worth into the millions, Naples would work out as a great place to live. For everybody else whose net worth isn't into the millions, just skip on Naples. If money really isn't an obstacle to you, then Naples is a clear choice. You have some of the best restaurants you're going to get anywhere in the state of Florida. The cuisine here is exceptional. The safety is on par. Naples is a very safe city. The beaches in Naples are beautiful, golf access, some of the best fishing in Florida, easy access to the Florida Everglades. The school districts and schools here are considered some of the best in the state. There's a lot of money here, so of course public services are going to be exceptionally good. Most of the city is large gated communities with golf courses. These communities are exceptionally beautiful, secluded, private, where safety literally won't be a concern. I mean, not only are you going to be in a very safe city, but most likely you're going to be inside of a gated community. So it's a very great place to live if the budget can afford it. The vibe here is affluence, and that may not be everybody's cup of tea. The city's known to be very prejudiced and very profiling. So if you don't have the money and don't fit the profile, probably wouldn't work out very well for you. The historic Naples Pier hasn't been remodeled since the hurricane. It's currently closed. That's an iconic destination for tourists, but it's believed that they don't even want tourists to visit Naples, so they haven't repaired it. This is 5th Avenue South, the iconic downtown of Naples, Florida, where elegance and price tags are very much everywhere. It's definitely not for everybody's price tag or even taste. Many people consider the city to be kind of snobby and entitled, but hey, that's what comes with endless supply of money. And let me remind you, if you are a mere peasant, Naples, Florida is absolutely the worst place you could end up. The job market is extraordinarily competitive. You can barely even make money on Uber here, and they won't tip you. Don't think because they're loaded, they're going to take care of you. These people are rich, they're entitled, and they want nothing to do with the rest of us in society. They put up with us because, well, somebody's got to clean their toilets for them. So if you're rich, entitled, and snobby, Naples will give you the opportunity to be around like-minded people. Number 9 is Marco Island, located to the south of Naples. This island is exclusive, wealthy, and isolated. Very well patrolled. Many years back, it was the safest place in the United States by crime rate. There really ain't much going on here. You'll be able to buy a beautiful house right on an island. You're usually going to have easy golf access to the 10,000 Islands, some of the best fishing places in the United States. If you want to enjoy nature, golf access, and living isolated from the rest of the world out there, Marco Island is the place for you. While living in Naples, Florida, I worked for many years on Marco Island, and this place is truly unlike anywhere else. This is tropical, isolated. It feels incredible to be here, and the things to do are limited. There's few restaurants. During the summer, it's an absolute ghost town. A lot of these people, these aren't their main homes. These are their third or fourth beach homes. So it's a very vacant place during the summer. But if you're able to afford Marco Island, it's a great place to live. You're definitely not going to have to deal with too many people. As you can see, during the summer, practically nobody is on the island. It's definitely not affordable over the last few years. A lot of people have tried to turn their houses into those vacation rentals, so it gets a little rowdy during the winter more than it used to be. A lot of the condominiums here on the water all are going to have golf access, or we're literally on the beach as well. And those places, from my experience working in them, the people are very pleasant. They're like a little community. They all look out for each other, help each other, and treat each other with respect and dignity. It really is a great community if you can afford it, and if you're okay with living in a fairly isolated and boring place. So it's a type of place for people who just enjoy nature and kind of want to get away from people, and of course have a very large price tag to go along with it. And despite being very close to the Florida Everglades and constantly hit by hurricanes, Collier County's island building code is very strict. The elevation of the houses are very high, and the building materials and codes are absolutely the best. So for the most part, despite the fact Marco Island gets hit by hurricanes nonstop, it doesn't seem to be affected by it very much because everything here is built to the highest building standards, which is probably another reason why real estate prices have surged here and houses have become bigger and more luxurious on the island, is because Marco Island has got hit back to back by hurricanes, and despite that, it doesn't seem to be faced by it. So hurricane recovery here is exceptionally well because of how well built the island is and the building codes and everything. So it's just, it gets hit by hurricanes quite a bit, but they don't seem to leave too much damage behind because of how well designed the urban planning is here. Marco Island is definitely a nature lover's dreamland. Number 10 is Coral Gables, located right outside of Miami in the southwest part of the city. This area is very affluent, very beautiful, has great restaurants, a lot of safety, and it really is an incredible, fun place to live. Most of Southwest Miami-Dade is Hispanic and Spanish speaking, but there is a pocket of white demographic around this area. It is kind of the white area of South Miami. Very elegant area with incredible dining options. The issue here is, again, the absolutely astronomical price of real estate. When it comes to buying real estate, you get what you pay for. And in this area, you're going to have to pay for a lot because you're getting a lot. In my opinion, over the last year and a half, crime has been increasing significantly in the Miami area, including Southwest Miami. And that is why it doesn't rank higher on our list, because despite the fact it's a beautiful, clean, safe area, it is kind of in Southwest Miami, an area that is increasingly becoming more dangerous despite the incredible price tag. I think a lot of young people want to live here, but they can't afford it, so they're inclined to do scam and fraud and all types of finesse in order to live a lifestyle that they probably can't afford. With beautiful landscaped neighborhoods, large banyans, quiet and tranquil settings, Coral Gables continues to be one of the best places to live in Florida. A deterrent for most people is just simply the price tag of living out here. But again, if it was crappy, it'd be affordable. It's expensive because it's good, and this area is definitely a dream for those who can afford it. All right, everybody, that's my list of the top 10 best places to live in the state of Florida for 2025. Most of these places are fairly expensive because, again, good things don't come affordably. The state of Florida is still a great place to live. I think the demographics of Florida are going to start to change to a younger demographic. I know the state of Florida is trying to attract one thing, but it's getting another. We have a lot of young people on those student visas coming up over here, and just a lot of younger people that have been successful in the north and are now able to afford living in Florida. And I think that this is going to definitely change the landscape of Florida into a younger demographic. GTA 6 comes out soon, and that video game features South Florida. A lot of those kids are going to want to come over here and reenact what they've been living on video games in real life. So despite the fact that's probably going to bring some crime to the area, it's also just another cultural aspect of Florida that people idolize living in this state. Florida really is becoming the new California, where all the young people want to live here for the hype, for the vibe, and of course for all the eccentric nightlife and things to do here. Florida is definitely a unique state that offers a lot of entertainment and things to do. It just feels good to be here. These are the top 10 places to live in Florida based on my personal opinion, and I know a lot of other people who've made the same list clearly you can see their intentions are not genuine. The goal of today's video is to remind you as well that good things cost money. And if you want to live in a good place in Florida, it certainly isn't going to come affordably. Florida is the best place to live for those who are wealthy and probably the worst place to live for those who are poor. I think only the state of Hawaii is more polarizing economically than the state of Florida. So if you're able to afford living in this state, these are some incredible suggestions on places where you could relocate if you want to live the Florida dream. And as always, the biggest issue with moving to Florida is the misinformation that exists on the internet. So I hope today's video can give you a little bit of clarity on what time it really is in the Sunshine State. And like I said, if you need consulting with moving over here for $200, you can get 2 hours of my time, and I will clarify exactly what you need for your personal circumstances, or to tell you any specific things that you need to do for Florida. Every year I probably help 10-20 people with consulting. It really hasn't been a huge part of my YouTube channel. I know other YouTube channels really push the consulting. I do it on the side for people who just can't get it from other people, or the advice that they're getting just doesn't make sense, so the people they're dealing with aren't knowledgeable. So it isn't something I've been shoving down people's throats, but if you need it, hit me up. My email address is on my channel's main description, and there's a fairly straightforward way of sending me the money. So hit me up, get in contact with me. If you need consulting, I'll gladly do it for you. I go by that rate, $200 minimum, $200 for 2 hours. And like I said, most people that I've dealt with have figured it out fairly quickly. They don't usually use the 2 hours. They don't need it. I'm telling you, for 2025, this is the best list that's on the internet on this topic. The other lists are practically realtors suggesting the area where they live in hopes that somebody will buy a house from them. Shake my head, Florida YouTube channel having realtors.